What is up, Pitt fans? Thank you so much for tuning in to Inside the Panthers on YouTube. My name is Stephen Thompson, coming at you with another Inside Pitt practice report. Pitt Panthers are still licking their wounds from the Backyard Brawl, and most of the questions directed at Pat Narduzzi today were about the offense and his quarterback's play. And, it was kind of a weird one, quite honestly, at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. So let's dive right into it as the Panthers kick off North Carolina week and get ready for their first ACC game of the year. So after the brawl, Narduzzi said that, regardless of position, he doesn't want to make rash decisions to dump a starter, after not very much time. This was about Phil Djokovic, but he likened it to, any position, whether it's offensive line, defensive back, whatever. It's just a philosophical thing that doesn't really like to do. And he reiterated that a little bit today, but it hasn't been true the entire time, quite honestly. If you think about how Jason Collier was replaced by BJ Williams after just 1 week, and then even this week, Donovan McMillan got the start over PJ O'Brien at safety after just 2 weeks. So the first question that we wanted to ask today was pretty obvious. Why did O'Brien and Collier get quick hooks that Djokovic didn't? And I'll read you Narduzzi's response, direct quote from him today. I think the quarterback is a totally different position from any other. You try to compare a quarterback to a safety, and to me, there's no comparison. We're going to rotate safeties in there. Talk about a 2-quarterback system. You talk about a 4-safety system. You're rotating guys in there, and eventually you find a rotation you like. I just think quarterback is a totally different deal. I'm not a quarterback whisperer. I'm not a quarterback guru, but I do believe that it takes some time to gel with your guys. We've been juggling guys up front. You guys have seen there's been a new starting offensive line every week, and he just wants to give Djokovic really some time to gel more with this team. So if that wasn't very clear before, at least from his post-game comments and then his comments today, he's going to give Djokovic some more time to right the ship. He's going to get at least this game against North Carolina. We'll kind of see how things go from there. But just how much more time? If he struggles against UNC, how long is the leash? And I don't really know the answer to that. And apparently Narduzzi doesn't really know either, which brings me to my next topic. Narduzzi was asked whether he or Frank Signetti really has the final say over who starts at quarterback. And Narduzzi said the OC does, the offensive coordinator does. Frank Signetti has, I would say, complete control. He never said that Narduzzi has any kind of input on who starts anywhere on the offense. Narduzzi said he spends upwards of 80% of his time with the defense and leaves offensive personnel decisions up to people who, quote unquote, know better. And I understand this. I don't think, when I first heard it, it was a completely ridiculous statement, but I have a couple of problems with it. First, it throws Frank Signetti completely under the bus, which, as Narduzzi said, is how things start to go south during a losing streak, which, remind you, is what they're on. They've lost 2 in a row. And maybe Signetti deserves some of the blame for Djokovic's struggles. I, understand the qualms about scheme and approach. I don't think I'm as big a Signetti hater as many people are. I think could be a perfectly fine offensive coordinator. It's in certain ways. He certainly has his flaws too. I won't avoid those, but I don't think he's that bad, and I don't think he kind of deserves to be thrown under the bus like this, quite honestly, because that puts this entirely on him and kind of leads you into the next part of this, which is that it makes Narduzzi look completely ineffectual. As the head coach, it really calls into question how much he's able to evaluate his own offense and then also make decisions that are in the best interest of the team if he disagrees with his coaches. Like, let's assume this is just Signetti trying to hold on to his guy and believing in Phil and saying, this is my dude, let's ride with him. That's not a good look for that Narduzzi can't, in his own program, make a decision that he thinks, is best for the team and override one of his offensive coordinators. That wouldn't be a good situation either. I'm not saying that's what happened, or that's what is happening, but for Narduzzi to put this entirely on Signetti's plate takes him entirely out of the equation, which again is a huge deflection from his responsibility as head coach. But also just curious because it leaves it entirely on Signetti and it just removes him from the equation entirely. And this is his program. If he's not able to, it just makes it seem like Narduzzi, even if he did have a problem, which, from all his public comments, apparently he doesn't have a problem with Phil's play. He has deflected this a lot to, It's a problem with everyone, is what he said. We're all at fault for the offense's struggles. It's not just one guy. But these deflections have kind of become a recurring theme, and that I think leads me into my last point, which is that this loss was almost entirely on quarterback play. I don't know how you watch that game and have any other kind of conclusion from it. And Narduzzi is denying this. He's like I said, he deflected blame to the entire offense and said this is, everyone's at fault. But you look at his first two interceptions, they led directly to 10 West Virginia points. After intercepting Jurkovec, they needed just 5 plays to gain 13 yards and score 10 of their 17 points in an 11-point win. Uh, I can't paint a much clearer picture for you. After they intercepted Jurkovec, they didn't gain a first down. They just, the touchdown, it was one play, 7 yards to get into the end zone. And then on the field goal, it was a 3 and out if they were anywhere else on the field, but they were in Pitt territory within field goal range already, and they were able to kick that field goal and put it out of reach. And that's to say the defense and the special teams were good. They were really good on Saturday night, and they were clearly let down by guys on the other side of the ball. And I won't say every part of the offense is perfect. I think there is a bit of truth to, receivers and tight ends and O-line can all be better and running backs can be better, especially. But whatever criticism of the quarterback play that has come has not been on an equal level compared to, like, when we're talking about the offensive line, we're talking about the running backs, we're talking about receivers or tight ends. And to be clear, I don't think the receivers or tight ends really deserve any kind of blame. Maybe tight ends for blocking. Maybe receivers could have blocked a little bit better on some of these running plays, but I thought for the most part, when given opportunities to make plays, those guys did. I think running backs are a different question. I think Daniel Carter had a rough game. Rodney Hammond just didn't get a ton of touches. But like thinking about Daniel Carter, he had a rough game, and Narduzzi was more than willing to criticize him directly, call him out by name, talk about specifically what things he did wrong, and say that these were critical plays in the game, and Daniel didn't make those plays. Where was that for Jurkovec? There's nowhere to be found. And I understand wanting to keep your guys' confidence high and coach positively. Believe me, I like big on coaching positively. I think that's fun. That's what I responded to when I was an athlete, albeit at a much lower level. But Phil's a big boy, and he's being treated differently though from the rest of his teammates. Like I said, with the Daniel Carter thing, he was more than willing to call out Carter's mistakes after the game, and then even this week. And he's willing to do that in a way that he's not willing to with Jurkovec. He's not naming Jurkovec specifically. He's not saying, "Oh, these are instances where he messed up or didn't play well or did something wrong." It's all collective when we're talking about Jurkovec's struggle, but with a guy like Daniel Carter, he's calling him out by name. Um, I just think it would be a small but not completely useless affirmation to know that we are all on the same page. That Narduzzi is watching these games and he is seeing the same things that we are all seeing. He can view the future differently. He can view the best path forward differently. I can perfectly understand that. Like, we don't see everything that Jurkovec does at practice. We don't see how he interacts with his teammates, and we definitely don't see him compared to, we don't get to compare him to Christian Bear. Christian Bear is a black box. We haven't actually seen him play against anyone meaningful. We don't get to watch practices all the time. Like, we have no idea what he could bring to the table. So maybe Jurkovec is just the best option. Maybe Bear just really isn't ready yet. And for all that Jurkovec struggled with, there is a path forward with him that is the best for the team. But we're not even acknowledging the fact that Jurkovec has struggled. That's the thing, Like, it's Narduzzi is just refusing to say him by name, talk about the things that he's done, hasn't done poorly. It is all, well, Jurkovec's play is affected by the guys around him. These press conferences have started to feel like we're just trying to find more and more creative ways to get Narduzzi to tell us about the quarterback play, just about the quarterback play. We just want to know what's wrong there. We want to know that what we're seeing is not completely made up our eyes, and that's how Narduzzi's kind of treating it. He's telling us that what we're seeing when a guy throws 3 interceptions, all of them in to receivers who were in double coverage or even worse, like, triple or quadruple coverage. Like, we saw that on Saturday night. It was plain as day to see, and we're being told that, "No, you're not seeing the whole picture." Like, that our eyes are lying to us. So, like I said, it would be small but not completely useless, I think, just to know that Narduzzi can acknowledge these struggles, that he can say, "Yeah, we expect more from Phil. Phil needs to be better." You can add that caveat of, "We believe he's going to get better, but we gotta start from the same place." We gotta start from the same place of acknowledging when a guy isn't playing up to par, and that's what Jurkovic's doing right now. So with that, I'm headed out of here. Thanks for tuning into another Inside Pit Practice Report. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to us on YouTube. That's youtube.com/at Inside the Panthers. And make sure to follow all our reporting from this week as the Panthers get ready for UNC and the ACC opener at InsideThePanthers.com. Like I said, thanks for tuning in again. I'll talk to you next time.